guys, what's going on? Today we check out the Friedman BE50 Deluxe. This amp, I pre-ordered, I waited. It came. And it's fantastic. I am pleased. Overall, this is probably the most Mesa-esque Friedman Dave has released. And what I mean by that is that it has so many switches and options. It's like a Mesa, where there is just tons of different ways you could set this amp up and it's going to sound great. It really reacts well to guitars, single coils, humbuckers, mini humbuckers, gold foils. You get so many different sounds, it's kind of hard to pick what you like. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you the unbox. I'm going to take you through the layout of the amp, show you the inside, or at least the tube selection. I didn't open it up and show you all the neat hand-wired guts, but we'll walk you through the controls, take a look at the back, way you can set up the amp. So this is going to be part one of probably 3, because this amp is so complex. I didn't want to make a 45-minute video, so I figured I would chunk it out. So what you're interested in, you can watch. So video number 1, which is this one, unbox and layout. Video number 2, I'm going to take this Gibson Firebird right here, go through some tones, go through the clean channel, go through the dirty channels, and kind of give you a wide variety of stuff just so you can hear the differences. There's going to be not a lot of playing or soloing or any of that kind of stuff. Video 3, I'm going to take 5 or 6 guitars and just run through the amp, set it up to each guitar, walk you through what I did so you can hear it. So let's get to the unbox and what this amp can do. The new Friedman is here. I pre-ordered this months ago. So I am quite excited. They got staples on either end. It's always a good sign. You can see the instructions. It's a new Deluxe, or the BE50 Deluxe. So, some instructions. This is a feature-rich amp, so this will be handy. Got these nice corners on each of them, and it looks like we've got the pedal and cable over here. I don't know if this is the first Friedman that comes with a 2-button foot switch, but if it's not the first, it's definitely one of the only ones. Let me get this out of the way. Alright, so one thing I will note about the packaging of this amp, 4 corners are great. Here's the warranty card. But if you can see down here, when I do this, these will fall out. So there is not, there is bubble wrap, but the pedal's not in it. Fail. So here is the foot switch. You got a clean in the boost, and it's a regular 1/4 inch. Cable looks like it's actually a TRS. So that comes with it, and the power cord comes with it. So yeah, let's check out the amp. This is kind of wrapped up on the one side. Not taped or anything, just kind of double knotted. That's a big head, man. Probably weighs 50 pounds, I want to say. Maybe a little less. Alright, so this is the front. Alright guys, this is the front panel of the BE50 Deluxe. I'm just going to walk through each of the controls on the front because we got a lot of stuff going on. So you got your standby switch, your indicator that the amp is on, which obviously right now it's off. Thump is like the resonance knob for the amp. So it controls all the low end on a global setting across all 3 channels. Also globally controlled is the response and presence. What response is, it makes the amp punchier or darker. So the lower the setting is darker, the higher the setting, the more punchier the amp is going to be. By punchier, brighter, it's going to stand out more, whereas when it's down, it's going to be darker, just softer overall. Now, presence really is one of those things that always controls the upper mids and the highs of an amp, and it's mainly in the power section. So the manual notes that this pot will be scratchy, and that's normal, which I think is kind of an interesting note. But moving on to this section, which is the gain. So it's the BE and the HBE channel. So you have a Master 2 and a Master 1. Master 2 is the HBE. Master 1 is the BE. That is the overall volume for those channels. This is channel 2, this is channel 3 overall for the amp. Treble adds treble or takes away treble. Middle obviously controls the mid-range. Obviously, you turn that higher, you punch out in the mix. So if you're ever having issues with standing out, adjust your mids. Bass control, you can see I have it set rather high. That is your low end. You can add or subtract, but being that Friedman is more like a Marshall, you tend to turn the bass up. Personal preference. Now, the gain 2 relates to Master 2, which is the HBE, and gain 1 relates to the BE, as well as Master 1. And truthfully, you can dime these, and they sound fantastic. So no worries there. Now, jumping over to the clean channel, we have the overall volume, we have treble, we have mid, and we have bass. Same EQ functions for channel 1 as channels 2 and 3. Obviously, channels 2 and 3 share an EQ. So if you're looking for independent EQ controls, you're not going to get it here. Now moving on to the switches, because this is where we get some really crazy stuff. So staying on the clean channel, we have this bright switch, which is a 3-way. If we go all the way over here, it's the brightest. Over here is darker. Different settings. It's more of trying to figure out what works. Playing with a MIDI humbucker or single coil, you probably want that less bright. With a humbucker, you might want brighter. So you just adjust it. This HBE BE clean is the channel selector if you're not using the foot switch. So HBE, BE up the center, and all the way to the right is your clean. Fat and voice work only for channels 2 and 3, so for the BE and HBE. This is either turning the fat on and off, which really, it just fattens up the tone. If you're using single coils, you might want a fat, so you switch it on. If you're using like a Les Paul, you switch it off. The voice switch controls the overall top end of the amp. You can go left, right, or in the middle is the brightest section. You can tailor how that top end sounds overall, even after you've messed with the EQs and you've messed with the global settings of the amp. So that's the front panel. Now let's check out the back panel. Okay, so this is the back of the Friedman BE50 Deluxe. And this is one of the things I've noticed on amps coming out now. They end up putting so much stuff on the front, they got to put the power on-off switch on the back. So here's your fuse. You have your on-off, so you turn it on here or you turn it off here. Your standby's on the front to actually engage the amplifier. You have your power. So this is the overall power for the amp. So you can select it at high, which is 50 watts, and you can select it at low at 25 watts. You have your speaker inputs, so you can run 2 different cabs out of here. You have your impedance selector, so you can select which ohms you're using, which is obviously very important with the speakers. You have 16 ohm, 8 ohm, and 4 ohm. You have your effects loop here. So this is on, that is off. So here's your send and your return, which you connect to your pedals, your delays, or reverbs, whatever you got. Because this amp does not have reverb. You have your send level. They recommend going at 8 to start, and then dial it back if you need to from there. You have your foot switch input, which is right here. Which your foot switch is this, and I'll explain that in a minute. So the SAT switch compensates for the overall amp's master volumes. It's the heaviest tone you're going to get. It's a volume drop, so if you engage the SAT switch, you're going to notice immediately that your volume does drop. But what it's doing and why it's doing that, it adds some gain and some saturation, and it compresses the sound. So overall, if you want like a really, tight, compressed sound, engage your SAT switch. If you don't want that, then keep it out, go for a saggier tone, that kind of thing. Your last switch on the back is gain structure. So this one is pretty important. It does the overall gain. It's definitely different from the 3 switches, and I'll go through it in the playthrough, but you're going to notice the overall structure of how the gain is formed and projected is crazily controlled from the gain structure switch. So very cool. Let's take a look at this pedal. So now, if your amplifier is on and you press the clean in, you're going to have your clean tone. Otherwise, if this is plugged in and nothing's lit up, it's on the BE channel, which is channel 2. So if you boost, you go to channel 3, which is the HBE. And if you hit this, you go back to clean. So you could be on channel 3 and hit the clean and go to clean, and then back to channel 3, no problem. So you can use this in any way you want, whether you want to go from channel 2 to 3 to 1. It works any way you want. Let's open it up, check out the tube layout. All right, so I removed the back panel. You can see these gigantic transformers in here. You have 2 EL34 tubes, which is what this amp runs on. These are electroharmonics tubes. These are ARS tubes, which I'll pop one out here. So this is what's in the preamp. There are 4 of these driving the amp. Here are the other 3 tubes. Now I'll take another shot of the tube slots. This looks like very much like Dave took the BE amp and used the same size chassis and everything and just removed tubes for the amp. That's my guess anyway. I'm not entirely sure about that one. Back there is a Dave's signature. So this is the inside of the amp, and you can see the tube slots that I was talking about. So right there's Dave's signature. So you've got 3 power tubes, 2 slots. I'm assuming this is the effects loop tube. And you have your 2 other slots for power tubes. But yeah, some very big transformers and a very clean layout. All right, so we just saw the inside of the BE50. So I hope that helped, and I know it was kind of a long tutorial. Obviously no sound samples, but this is part 1. So it was just the unbox and kind of the feature set. So hopefully you got another look at it, and that helped. So check out part 2, where we go through some tunes. Obviously, many more videos to come. Don't miss one sub.